Hello, and thank you so much for taking the time to observe my research presentation. My name is Luke Ungerer, and I'm an evolutionary, ecological, and organismal biology student at the University of Kansas. And here I'm studying how trophic status or mixing regime may alter zooplankton-driven clear water phases. Now, zooplankton have been used as environmental indicators for their water column by ecologists for decades now. Now, I just want to focus in on how they might drive clear water phases in reservoirs around the Midwestern United States. Now, in Kansas, I decided to have the objective of this study be about evaluating how zooplankton abundance in Daphnia size specifically may affect the water quality in these Kansas reservoirs. Now, the sites that I studied were Clinton Reservoir, or Clinton Lake, as most people around here know it as, which is a polymictic, sometimes dimictic, depending on the weather of that year, eutrophic system. I also studied Marion Reservoir in Marion, Kansas, which is a hypereutrophic polymictic system. And then I thirdly studied Cross Reservoir, which is a dimictic mesotrophic system. Now, in order to study these sites, I wanted to use Secchi depth to help identify the water clarity of that date and time. And I also wanted to use other water quality metrics, such as a YSI multi-probe sensor, to help understand the limnological data of the water column at that time, and also a fluoroprobe to help identify algal communities that were existing in the water column on that date. I then used a zooplankton 64 micrometer mesh net to take a vertical haul of the water column, which I then preserved that sample in 95% ethanol. Later, I would take these samples back into the lab and take a 15 milliliter subsample of the 125 milliliter subsample I acquired out into the field to observe under microscopy. I then used Modic imaging software to take pictures of what I was observing under the microscope so that I may then identify taxonomically the zooplankton present in that sample, and also to measure the individual length of zooplankton using ImageJ software, which I then compiled all that data into an Excel sheet. Now, the results of what I saw during this year-long sampling process of these three reservoirs can be illustrated here in these four figures here, where I used Secchi depth as my X here for all four figures. And then on my Y-axis here, for example, I used total zooplankton abundance. Here I used copepod abundance specifically. I decided to look at Daphnia length here in this figure, and then I also looked at cladoceran abundance here. And now what we can observe here is that there is a decrease in zooplankton abundance in all three reservoirs, which was reinforced by a statistical p-value being less than 0.05 in polymictic Clinton and Marion reservoirs. On the other hand, dimictic Cross had a significantly positive correlation between cladoceran abundance and the increase in Secchi depth, reinforced by p-value being greater than 0.05. Daphnia increased in size in Clinton and Marion, but decreased in abundance. However, the opposite can be said about Daphnia in Cross Reservoir. And then overall, there was no significant relation between copepod abundances and Secchi depth in any of the three reservoirs. And what we can conclude from this is that cladoceran abundance may be related to water clarity in dimictic and mesotrophic systems like Cross Reservoir. Furthermore, furthermore, an increase in cladoceran size may help drive the clear water phase in polymictic and eutrophic systems like Clinton and Marion. And a future study that I would like to conduct to help gain more insight on these results would be studying top-down predation having an effect on zooplankton size distributions and community compositions, such as planktivorous fish populations in the water column. Thank you.